Africa, a continent blessed with so much energy resources that it could, in theory, sustainably power the entire planet, many times over from just a fraction of the capacity of its most abundant resource, solar. The continent boasts 60% of global solar resources, yet it lags behind others with just 1% solar PV capacity installed. The International Energy Agency's Sustainable Africa Scenario forecasts that by 2030, solar PV's cost-effectiveness will prevail continent-wide, outpacing all energy sources. Renewable energy, led by solar, wind, hydropower, and geothermal, will be capable of driving over 80% of new power capacity in Africa. In this episode, I look at renewable energy innovation in Africa, focusing on solar. How is Africa leveraging its abundant solar resources to bridge the gap between installed solar capacity and its potential of being a global frontrunner in solar energy? What measures and policies are being implemented to ensure that solar and other renewable resources become the dominant and cost-effective energy source throughout Africa by 2030? There is a lot of scope for Africa to grow into the global economic force that it is capable of being. But first, it must solve its own flavor of the global energy crisis. Welcome to Ready Next. Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Ready Next. I'm your host, Tosin Lanipekwan, and in this episode I will turn the spotlight on Africa, looking at how the continent can harness and maximize latent renewable energy sources to supercharge its growth in the years to come. Let's explore some of the latest innovation in Africa's quest for renewable power supply. 5 a.m. Lagos. The incessant din of generators have become a part of the daily soundtrack to awaken the industrious populace to one of Africa's largest cities. The current electric grid is woefully inadequate in supplying the requisite power needed by a city of this scale, with a humongous appetite for electricity. This means that most businesses and households rely on expensive and pollutant generators to meet their energy needs. In many urban and rural areas across the continent, a similar picture exists. Folks go about their business in spite of electricity cuts and settle down for their night's rest, often with lanterns and torches providing scant illumination. However, the broader picture is that the world is facing an electricity crisis due to the mismatch between the rising energy demand and the limited energy supply. To address the electricity crisis, the world needs to increase the cooperation and coordination among countries and regions, invest in improving the energy infrastructure and inefficiency, diversify the energy mix by expanding the share of renewable energy sources, support the development of new technologies and innovation, and ensure a people-centered transition that prioritizes energy access, affordability, and employment for all. But in Africa, there is hope. If the pace of change on the continent is supported by good governance and policy reform at both country and regional levels, providing a boost to the private sector, the situation will start to radically change. Many countries on the African continent have already started to innovate around solar energy. Solar is renewable, clean, and cost-effective, and can provide electricity for both on-grid and off-grid scenarios. Interestingly, from an energy innovation standpoint, some of the smartest and most comprehensive solutions in the world can also be found in Africa. Morocco in North Africa is emerging as a global leader in solar energy, with the world's largest concentrated solar power (CSP) plant, the Noor complex, located near the city of Ouarzazate. The Noor complex has a total capacity of 580 megawatts, enough to power more than 1 million homes in Morocco consistently. The plant uses curved mirrors to concentrate the sun's rays and heat up fluid that drives turbines to generate electricity. Morocco is not only meeting its domestic energy needs with renewables, but also aiming to export clean energy to other countries. In the future, these could be opened up to the Iberian Peninsula to export renewables. Morocco is also planning to build a 10.5 gigawatt solar and wind farm in the Gomim Oud Noon region and supply the UK with clean energy via subsea cables. The cables will be the world's longest, spanning 3,800 kilometers, about 2,361 miles under the sea. The country's solar production capacity is not only a solution for its own power problems, but also a contribution to the global fight against climate change. Two key insights stood out for me in this Moroccan example. The first is visionary leadership. The Moroccan solar energy strategy was initiated in 2009 by the Moroccan government under the presidency of His Majesty King Mohammed VI. The second insight is about public-private partnership. Moroccan Agency for Solar Energy, MASEN, is a public-private venture that was established to lead the project and implement key aspects. This they have done excellently well. In West Africa, one of the best examples of large-scale solar innovation is the Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed 50 megawatt peak power plant in Blita, Togo. This is the largest solar photovoltaic plant in the sub-region, using solar tracker technology, which increases the efficiency of solar panels by making them follow the path of the sun. The plants can provide power to more than 158,000 households and save more than 1 million tons of CO2 emissions. It has the capacity of 50 megawatts, which can be expanded to 70 megawatts by the end of the year. Togo's strategy relies on an optimal combination of off-grid and on-grid technology and plans to also build more than 300 mini solar plants. In terms of sustainability, the plant will contribute to Togo's goal of achieving universal access to electricity and providing clean and renewable energy to all. It will also help Togo achieve its commitments under the Paris Agreement to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and mitigate climate change impacts. Togo's strategy was only instituted in 2018 in a combination of focused leadership by the Togolese government through its Ministry of Energy and Mines, partnerships with various international partners such as the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development, ADFD, the World Bank, and the African Development Bank. The Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed power plant is a shining example of how solar innovation can transform Africa's energy landscape and create social and economic benefits for its people. According to the World Bank, Africa has the world's greatest solar energy generation potential. Gradually, we're beginning to see true innovation emerge in this space on the continent. Solar energy is not only a source of clean and renewable power, but it's also a catalyst for innovation, resilience, economic stability, and transformation. By harnessing the power of the sun, Africa can achieve its energy and climate goals, improve its energy security and access, and boost its economic growth and development. Solar energy can also empower communities, especially women and youth, to create their own solutions and solve their own problems. Africa may end up playing a leading role in solving the world's energy crisis. But the clincher is this: it requires more investment, policy reform, regional cooperation, and most importantly, excellent leadership and governance to make this a reality. I hope that this podcast episode has inspired you to learn a little bit more about the solar revolution happening in Africa and to support efforts to sustainably light up the continent and indeed the world. That's all from me for now. Stay tuned for the next episode of Ready Next.